Okay, so now it is recording. So we're going to go into Blackboard for your course and pull up the syllabus. Right now for your class, you can see you can't scroll down. There are no recordings posted below because we haven't recorded any yet. But that'll be fixed after today. Okay, so here is our syllabus for this class. There's my name and contact information. Todd Hoff. You guys can call me Todd or Mr. Hoff, whatever you're comfortable with. Best way to contact me is through email. It's not case sensitive, so you don't have to put the capitals on the T and the H. I check my email at least once or twice a day, so I'll get your messages pretty quickly. If you have to call, that is my extension, my phone number and my extension. You'll never catch me in my office because I'm never in there, but it does forward a message to my email when there's a voicemail, so I should get that relatively quickly as well. So my schedule is posted on Blackboard, so if you need to try to get a hold of me, there are vacant times there. Let me pull up that schedule quick. The big thing is I think every day I am free before this class. Yes, every day, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I am free before this class. So if there's anything that needs to be done, let me know. If you send me a message, I can talk to our ITV crew and see if they can pull up the network early, and we can help you out a little bit before class. I guess I should ask Medford, I know in the past your schedule's conflicted a little bit. Are you guys going to be a couple minutes late every day with your schedule, or how does that going to work? Okay. So we'll plan on taking the first few minutes of every class to answer homework questions and stuff so that you guys don't miss too much. But I will warn you, if there aren't any questions, we might jump into the lecture, so you guys might have to pick up a minute or two into things. Okay, so with that, meeting location isn't such a big deal since you guys are at your own high schools. As I kind of mentioned a little bit briefly earlier, this is tried to aim this course mostly at the health occupations. This is a class that was originally designed as a prep class for our associate degree nursing program, and it's now been expanded for paramedic, EMT, and medical assistant. And it's a great prep course for anybody interested in medical fields or biology for that matter. We cover all the dosage calculations, measurement conversions that are necessary. We also, as I mentioned, cover basic math in our first unit. Then we do a little bit of graphing and basic kind of equation problem solving there. Just to give you a little feel, state of Wisconsin has changed their requirements now. So anybody going into nursing field, if you want to be an RN, you're going to have to go on to a 4-year degree. So we've put some materials in there to prep you for courses you would have to take. So Unit 4 is kind of a little bit of a prep for going on to a college algebra course. And then Unit 5 is just a brief unit on statistics. It'll be 4 or 5 hours of class. Statistics are just essential for almost any field right now, but more so in the medical fields, not just from the business side as far as tracking efficiency and keeping track of your production stats and stuff like that, your times with patients and all of that, but also from the research side of, if you get into medical research and drug testing and things like that, statistics is very important. So that is our list. As I said, please bear with me on the first couple here as we go through our fractions and decimals and basic whole numbers and stuff. It may bore you a little bit, but there are going to be some things in there that kind of connect things for you too, that pull some of the stuff we've done with numbers together for you a little bit as well. Other than that, as I said, your grade in here is completely determined by the average of your 5-unit tests. Now, I don't want to scare you with that. That doesn't mean that if you bomb a test, your grade is cut down. When you guys do a test, of course, you'll have it either scanned and emailed to me or faxed to me. Preferably scanned and emailed. That's easiest for me to manage. and then I will send it back to your school and they'll distribute it to you. Once I've graded it and you've received it back, you have the opportunity to redo any of the questions you got wrong. And after our first unit test, I'll remind you of that and maybe take some time to go through it a little bit as to how I'd want you to do that. But you can redo the, let's say you get a 88%, 88 points out of 100 on the first test. You get it back. If you redo all of the questions you got wrong and get them correct, and hopefully you do get them correct, because once you get it back, I allow you, you can work with your classmates. You can ask me to help you, I'll help you out, or you can ask a teacher at your high school to help you out. I want to make sure that when you redo them, you get them right. So anything you need to help you get those right, let me know, and we'll make sure that happens. So that 88 out of 100 would turn into a 94 out of 100 if you correct them and send them back to me. And you can either scan those and have your teacher there scan them and resend them, or you can just send me an email just writing out, I had question 4 wrong, here's how to do it. Getting Hurley all set and back up?
Is there a student in Hurley?
There is a student in Hurley, but I don't know if they got her switched from the other classroom over to this one yet or not.
Oh, I think they were going to, okay, so that's what they wanted to do?
I think this looks like a different classroom now, I don't know.
Okay, I think okay, we'll add both.
I know your message said you were just going to bring it down and bring it back up.
That's what Wayne said?
Yeah, but it looks like they've switched to a different classroom.
Okay, good.
Thanks. Okay, sorry about that. So anyway, after that's all done, that will determine your final score on each test. And the average of that will put you on this grade scale. This is our standard WITC grade scale. Basically a 93 and above is an A, actually 92.5 and above is an A. 84.5 and above is a B. And 77.5, 78 and above is a C. And hopefully we don't have to worry about anything below that. I've never given out a grade below that in this course for anybody that shows up and does the work. Other than that, standard disclaimers, academic integrity, don't get caught cheating, all that good stuff. If you have any needs, whether it's a diagnosed learning disability or anything other than that, maybe you're just not sure about taking a math class, or if this is your first ITV class, let me know if there's anything I can do to make the class easier for you. Or maybe it's just a matter of the way I write things or how I place things. Feel free to send me an email and say, hey, when you write stuff, could you please not get so close to the bottom of the screen? It's hard to see in the room that we're in, or whatever. If there's something that I'm doing, please let me know. I've never run into anything almost never run into anything that we can't figure out for students to help them out. As far as tests and stuff, you're always allowed as much time as you need for tests. We will take an hour in class, or I guess 46 minutes is what we have for our class period. We will take that in class, but then you can take extra time as you can arrange with somebody at your school to allow you to finish up those tests. So don't ever feel time pressure on the tests. Then just a small disclaimer, the podcast and videos, the class is recorded, so it is out on YouTube. If any of you guys don't want your voice on the recordings, because sometimes the speaker is loud enough in here that it picks up on the microphone, let me know, and if you raise your hand, I'll make sure I mute the recording so your voice doesn't get recorded or whatever. Usually it's not an issue. I try to edit them so there isn't anything major out there. But just so you know that those are not on a secure website. Those are just put out on YouTube so other people can search them and view them as well. And then, of course, there's our 5 units. We have the basic algebra and basic math, problem solving. Unit 2 will be unit conversions, which is huge for doing any of our medical stuff. And then Unit 3 is the big one, where we'll spend probably the largest portion of our time, is the dosage calculations. And then we have graphing. As I said, it's our graphing, rates of change, and stuff like that. And the statistics, organizing data, interpreting data, basic descriptive statistics. We're not going to get into any hypothesis testing or anything like that. Anybody have any questions on our course procedures and content? Okay. So the material for the course will appear, like I said, the recordings will appear on the bottom of this course information page this time. If there's any other materials like worksheets or anything like that, I'll make sure I get those posted a couple days ahead of time, and I'll give you a warning so you can get them printed. Otherwise, that should only be like once or twice that we'll have anything like that. Otherwise, the course is going to be presented basically just like this. You'll have my white screen up here, just like a whiteboard. Occasionally, I'll put my face in the corner here with the webcam. Not too often, so I don't scare you away too bad. And that's what you'll see if you view the recordings, is you'll just see whatever is up on your screen being projected with my voice laid over the top of it. Now, as I mentioned, we start with some very basic topics in here, but we go over them because there are some subtleties in the theory behind them that are often left behind or forgotten by the time you get to this point. So we're going to take a little time to finish off today. We have about 17 minutes left. And I want to take a little bit of time just to point out some of those subtleties in our most basic math concepts. And the one we're going to talk about today is the concept of a number. Just so you guys know, at 12:22 we do get cut off. There won't be any homework today, so if we happen to get cut off today, don't worry about it. We'll just reconvene on Wednesday, and our first homework assignment will be on Wednesday. Most of the time I'll try to end a minute or two early just to make sure we have time to give you the homework assignment, and maybe even sometimes give you a couple minutes to get started on it before we get cut off. So anyway, numbers. If I put a 4 up here, show of hands, how many of you would tell me that that's a number? Okay, most people would. Technically, that's just a numeral. It's an amount. To be a number, we really have to not only tell us how many, the 4, but we also have to tell us of what. For example, it might be 4 cows. So now we have that amount, the 4, which I'm going to refer to as the count. And we have what it is we have 4 of. In this case, the cows, which I'm going to refer to as a name. Now, that may not look like a horribly important distinction, and you might be thinking, oh, here's just another one of those uptight math teachers who's going to make us label everything or it's wrong. That's not really my purpose here, although in the medical fields, labeling is very important. Microliters compared to milliliters are a very big difference. So there will be some where the labeling is going to be vital, going to be required. But the purpose of pointing that out is really not to control the labels, but to show really what happens in our most basic math operations. So let's look at 2 of our most basic math operations, addition and multiplication. And those actually really are our 2 basic math operations. In math, our operations come in pairs. So if you're wondering where subtraction went, subtraction is really just a byproduct of addition. It's addition done in reverse. And the same with division. Division is just multiplication done in reverse. So any rules we talk about for addition also apply pretty much the same for subtraction, and then the same with multiplication and division. So let's take a look at adding 2 numbers. Let's take like 3 inches plus 5 inches. What do we get? There we go, 8 inches, perfect. Now we all knew that coming in, but let's take a look at what happened with our counts and our names. We had counts of 3 and 5, and to add these numbers, we combined them with addition to get 8. So when we add numbers, we combine the counts. Let's look at the names. Well, we had inches and inches, and we ended up with inches. When we add numbers, we just keep the same name. So nothing happened to the name when we add numbers. Now that can be very different when we multiply. Let's take a look at multiplying 3 inches times 5 inches. When we multiply those, what do we get? 15 inches squared. Very good. So if we look at what happened now with our counts and our names, we still had counts of 3 and 5, and we still combined them. This time we were multiplying, so we combined them with multiplication to get 15. So we multiply, we still combine the counts. The big difference here, though, comes in the name. We had inches and inches, and we ended up with square inches. So when we multiply, we also combine the names. Hurley, are you able to see my computer screen now? Perfect. Okay, everybody's up and running. Thank you. So when we multiply, we also combine the names. Inches times inches became square inches instead of just staying inches. Now it seems like a small difference, but it's huge when we look at our other forms of numbers. It actually defines all the differences we have in our calculations with our other forms of numbers. In fact, it even defines what we can use in each calculation. For example, maybe I want to add 6 cows and 2 boys. Do I get 8 cowboys? No, that's kind of silly, right? Or if I did it the other way around, 2 boys and 6 cows, would I get 8 boy cows? No. Anybody from a farm background? Couple? You can tell me that that is a bunch of bull, right? Okay, a long way to go for a joke. But I'm a math teacher, which means I'm required by law to have a really silly sense of humor. You'll get used to it. But there's a point behind this joke. I cannot add cows and boys because when I add numbers, I'm going to keep the same name, which implies I have to start with the same name. For example, if I have 5 feet plus 2 pounds, I cannot add those because they have different names. However, when I'm multiplying 5 feet times 2 pounds, because when I multiply, I'm going to also combine the names, I don't have to start out with the same name. I'm going to combine the counts, 5 times 2 is 10. Then I'm also going to combine the names. Feet times pounds is foot-pounds. Now there are times when we add where we have different names, where we might be able to change the names. For example, if we have 2 feet plus 9 inches, there I am able to change my 2 feet into 24 inches, and now I can add 24 inches plus 9 inches is 33 inches. So when we look at fractions and decimals, that's one of the things we're going to look at is changing the name so that we can add them. Now you might still be thinking, okay, this is maybe a touch interesting, but not really worth all the time. Why is this difference so important? When we add numbers, we have to start with the same name because we're keeping the same name. And when we multiply, we don't have to start with the same name because we're just going to combine the names. Well, it's so important because when we look at all the special rules we've learned for our other forms of numbers, they come from this one single difference in those operations. For example, let's look at everybody's favorite type of number, a fraction. I didn't hear too many groans. That's a good thing. Usually when I mention fractions, there's some protests. Let's take a review. The top number of a fraction is called numerator. The bottom number, denominator. There we go. No need to be shy. Numerator and denominator. What does it mean to numerate? Well, every 10 years, our government sends out people to do the census to numerate the population. What are they doing? They are counting. The numerator is a count. Denominator. What does it mean to denominate? Well, we have different denominations of money, different denominations of organizations. To denominate means to classify or to give a name. So when we look at a fraction, It looks like it's two numbers, but it's really a single number with two parts. A count, in this case, we have 3 of something, just like having 3 cows or 3 inches or 3 pounds. Here we have 3/7. And when we go to add fractions, somewhere around 3rd grade or so, when we first learned how to add fractions, that 3rd grade teacher told us to add or subtract fractions, you must have a common denominator. Both have to be 7. Again, that's nothing new for fractions. Anytime we add numbers, we have to start out with the same name, even with whole numbers. And then they told us that when we add fractions, once we have the common denominator, what do? Not everybody at once. There we go. Add the numerators. 3 plus 2 is 5. And keep the common denominator. Again, that's not a special rule or special set of rules for fractions. That's how we add any number. We combine the counts, and then we keep the same name. It just looks a little different because fractions look a little different. When we multiply 3/7 times 2/7, that same 3rd grade teacher taught us that we're going to just multiply straight across. 3 times 2 is 6. 7 times 7 is 49. Again, that's not a special rule for fractions. Anytime we multiply numbers, we combine the counts, and then we also combine the names. If I had 3/4 plus 1/5, can I add those the way they're written? No, they have different denominators. They have different names. Later, we'll take a look at fractions in more detail, and we'll look at changing the names, finding that common denominator. Little review of before we go. But when we multiply, can I multiply those fractions without finding a common denominator? Sure I can. Because when we multiply, we don't need the same name. Because we're just going to combine the counts. 3 times 1 is 3. And then also combine the names. 4 times 5 is 20. So again, the rules that we learn for fractions are not special rules for fractions. They're the same rules as for any other whole number. They just look different. In fact, we can do the same with decimals. Let's take 0.21. Now, 0.21, how would we formally pronounce that? Instead of 0.21, we would say 21 hundredths. There we go. I should forewarn you, my handwriting is horrible, and my spelling is sometimes terrible too. If anything ever appears up here that you can't read, I assure you that it was intended to be English. Just raise your hand. I either misspelled it or my handwriting is off. Give me a yell and I'll rewrite it. I won't be offended if you can't read something I wrote down. Okay, so let's say we're going to take like 0.21 plus 0.3. If I go to add those, is that going to work? It's not. What did I do wrong? Or what do I need to do? We've been taught to line up the decimal points. Right? Why? Well, because this is 21 hundredths, but this is 3 tenths. They have different names. So when we add numbers, we have to have the same name. Fortunately, in this case, all we have to do is add that 0, and they have the same name. And now, of course, the decimal points automatically line up. Lining up the decimal points is just making sure they have the same name. And, of course, we add them. 21 and 30 make 51. Where's the decimal point go? It just comes straight down. Because when we add numbers, we keep the same name. 21 hundredths and 30 hundredths has to stay 51 hundredths. Moving that decimal point straight down is just a way of keeping the same name. Multiplication. Do I have to line up my decimal points? Say no. No, we don't. Because when we multiply, we don't need the same name, so we don't have to worry about lining up the decimal points. 21 times 3 is 63. Where's my decimal point going to go? 1, 2, 3 spaces over. Why? Well, we've always been taught you have to count 1, 2, 3 decimal places in the problem. So we have to put 1, 2, 3 decimal places in our answer. But again, why? Well, the 3rd or 4th grade teacher said so. Well, this is 21 hundredths, as we said. This is 3 tenths. And when we multiply, we do combine the counts. 21 times 3 is 63. But we also combine the names. Hundredths times tenths is thousandths. So when we're counting up those decimal places and putting that many in our answer, all we're really doing is combining the names. Very quickly, we can do the same with our algebraic numbers. 4x plus 7x, we're just combining the counts. Again, they have to have the same name. They're both x. 4 plus 7 is 11, and we keep the same name of x. However, when we multiply 4x times 7x, 4 times 7 is 28, but we also combine the names. X times x is x squared, just like inches times inches became inches squared. If I had 5x plus 2y, what do I get? Just 5x plus 2y. We can't combine those. But if it was 5x times 2y, we combine the counts. 5 times 2 is 10. And then just like feet times pounds became foot pounds, x times y becomes xy. So again, all those special rules you learned for decimals and for our algebraic terms are just the same rules as we have for whole numbers. They just look a little different. Okay, like I said, this is all very basic review for all of you, and I apologize for the first couple of classes. They're going to be a little bit, maybe a little bit boring, but hopefully there are some insights and connections that you haven't seen before. There is no homework for Wednesday, so our network is going to cut off here pretty soon. When it cuts us off, just go ahead with whatever your school, if you have to stay in the room for a while for your next class or whatever. Oops, we lost you. I guess with that, if you're looking at the recording, we'll see you on Wednesday, and we'll have our first assignment after that. Have a great day.